Today was Bullseye practice day, and I shot the cadet after shooting with the interns on Friday, and went out there by myself this morning and didn't try to set up any video cameras or anything. And first target, pretty good. First 10 rounds, 97 4X, and settle down into a pattern on the second one. And the second 10 rounds, I was able to shoot a 105X. So that's the first 100 clean target I've shot in a while. And this one was pretty darn good. But the group's a little low, so I went 4 up on my red dot for the second target, and show you what that looks like. Second target, first 10, of course they're all grouped a little higher now because I went 4 up, which is about an inch at 25 yards. So the first 10 shots on target 2, 99 5X, and I had that one round off to the right in the 9 ring. Then the next 10, is a 97 2X, and the only bad shot in that round was the 8 ring hit at about 12 o'clock. So that's a good result. That's 4 10-shot targets, 97 or better. So I was pretty happy with that. Decided to try rapid fire. Rapid fire is difficult because you're going to shoot 5 shots in 10 seconds. And what you've got to do is not get yourself too rushed, and prep the trigger, put a little pressure on the trigger so that as the gun drops back down into the bullseye after recoil, you can release the shot while the red dot's near the X ring. So the first 10, a little rushed, just wasn't used to the sequence, and which is what happens if I don't practice twice a week. Then second one was a 96 1X, and at least I had all the shots in the black on the second 10 shots. So I went ahead and decided to try one more target. Here's the rapid fire target. And on this one, I had a 96 2X for the first 10. And then I threw 1 shot high, which was just an early release, and 1 shot right, which was just clumsy of me. So the last 10 shots, I came up with a score 93 3X. So I decided to try a slow fire target, and here's what that looks like. The slow fire is not so much a timing issue as it is a coordination issue with releasing the shot as the dot settles into the upper portion of the bullseye. And you can see here on the first 10, I put 1 shot left in the 6 ring at about 10 o'clock, and that wasn't very good. Then I had a couple of 7 ring hits, and just pretty much a result of me just needing to settle in and practice slow fire a little more. So the second 10, about the same really, except all the shots were in the black at least, but too many of them were 8 ring hits, and not enough for 10 ring hits. So it was good as far as aiming the gun, but not so good as far as getting enough hits in the 9 and 10 ring. So the score was an 86. So I decided to try it one more time, slow fire, and this one I actually averaged 89 1X, 89 1X for two 10-shot targets. And the good thing is, though, is that I didn't have any wild shots. So there's a couple wide near the edge of the 8 ring, and there's one that I went ahead and scored as an 8, but it's probably a 9. And there were at least plenty of 10-ring hits on this target. So even though the score wasn't that much better than the previous target, the grouping was much better, indicating that at least I'd learned something. So I would say offhand that was a pretty good day. I think on the, if I counted the best 6 targets, 2 slow, 2 time, 2 rapid, I think the score came out 569 out of 600, and that's a really good result as far as the total score goes. Of course, I was cherry picking the targets, but most practices, if I get 540, 550, I'm happy. So to shoot a 569, only drop 31 points out of 600. That's pretty good. So I was very happy with that. I was also, of course, very happy to shoot one clean 100 5X target. So the next thing I did was move to the P10C. And I had never shot the P10C after 120 rounds with the Kadet. And that was quite a challenge. So target 7 is timed fire, which is 25 yards, standing, single hand. And I think most of these were actually in the time limit, but I didn't run the timer. So these first 2 targets, 84 was bad, 84 2X. And it was bad because I was struggling with the trigger pull, is a nice way to put it. It's not that the trigger pull is difficult or hard, it is that the trigger pull is so different from the Kadet. So I hadn't shot the P10C in a couple of weeks, I guess. So it was quite a struggle for me to get used to the trigger pull. The other thing I noticed is that I was shooting a little left, so I adjusted the sight right. And second 10 here was a 91 0X, and they're pretty well centered windage wise. Group's still a little big. The hits off to the right in the 8 ring, and the wide shot on the left in the 8 ring was still a problem, and that's a trigger control problem. So I decided to try it one more time, and this time I slowed down a little more, was much more conscious of prepping the trigger, and the first 10 were pretty good, actually, an 89 2X, and then I tried to settle down some more. And what happens when you do that is if you change your grip tension, standing, single hand, 25 yards, sometimes you can move the group to the right a little more than you intended to, or to the left, depending on which way you're going. When I grip the gun differently than the first 10 on this target, I move the entire group off to the right, almost vertically in line with the 8 on the right side. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots in a plus or minus 1 inch spread horizontally, and that means I need to go back on the sight to the left or grip the gun this way all the time. So this again is just a error in consistency on my part as far as being able to grip the gun the same each time I pick it up. I'm just not there yet with the P10C. And it was especially a challenge after shooting the Kadet. So if I really expected to shoot good targets with the P10C, I'd probably have to put 50 or 100 rounds down range before shooting the Kadet, and a little more dry fire, and also still have a trigger finger rub on the trigger guard that I'm going to have to trim off. So anyway, this was a good day, especially with the Kadet, and it was education with the P10. I've still got some work to do with it before I can expect to shoot a bullseye match with it. So that's it for today.